In our last conversation, we talked about the scanner's dilemma, that beautiful, chaotic reality of having a brain that wants to do everything all at once. We looked at how to build the muscle of tenacity so you don't leave a trail of half-finished projects in your wake. But for many of you, even after finding your M-shaped path, a more domestic, nagging problem remains. You can navigate the complex, wicked environments of your career, but you can't seem to navigate your own living room without tripping over a pile of books you promised to organize 3 weeks ago. You look at your desk, and it's a geological excavation of your various interests. There's the half-repaired analog camera, the sketches for that app, and a stack of mail that has basically become part of the furniture. You feel that familiar sting of guilt. You tell yourself, I just need more discipline. I just need to try harder. But here's the first thing I want to dismantle today. Trying harder is exactly why you are failing. In psychology, there is a concept called ego depletion. It suggests that willpower is not a personality trait, it's a finite fuel source. It's like the battery on your phone. Every time you make a difficult decision, every time you filter out a distraction, and every time you force yourself to do something you don't want to do, you drain that battery. For the introverts and the multitaskers among us, our batteries drain faster than most. Why? Because we are constantly processing. An introvert in a loud office is burning willpower just to stay focused. A multitasker juggling 3 different projects is burning willpower just to switch gears. By the time you get home and look at that cluttered kitchen counter, your willpower battery is at 2%. You don't have the energy to decide to be tidy. To understand why trying doesn't work, we have to look at the internal conflict happening inside your skull. It's a battle between 2 very different characters, the conscious director and the autopilot. Behind your forehead sits the Prefrontal Cortex, PFC. This is the director. It's brilliant, logical, and handles all your complex decision-making. It's the part of you that buys the organization bins and watches the Marie Kondo specials. But the PFC is incredibly expensive to run. It's a high-maintenance diva that demands a lot of energy. Deep in the center of your brain, however, lies the basal ganglia. This is the autopilot. It doesn't think in the traditional sense. It just executes. It's the storage center for automatic behaviors. Things like driving a car, tying your shoes, or the specific way you brush your teeth. The basal ganglia is energy efficient. It can run all day on a single metaphorical cracker because it doesn't make decisions, it just follows a script. The reason your house is a mess isn't that you are a messy person, it's that you have treated organization as a PFC task. You've made tidying up a feat of logic and willpower that you have to perform every single day. And because your PFC is already exhausted from your wicked work environment and your endless curiosity, it simply hands in its resignation the moment you walk through the door. Most organization advice tells you to get motivated, but motivation is a PFC function. It's fleeting. It's the newness high that wears off. Today, we are going to stop fighting your prefrontal cortex. We are going to stop trying to be neat. Instead, we are going to learn how to offload the stress of organization from the exhausted director to the tireless autopilot. We are going to stop cleaning, and we are going to start reprogramming. We are going to look at the neurological mechanics of the habit loop and how you can use it to make tidiness as natural and thoughtless as breathing. Because once a behavior is coded into the basal ganglia, it no longer requires willpower. It becomes part of your biological identity. But to do that, we have to understand the 3-part script the basal ganglia is waiting for. Reprogramming your basal ganglia requires mastering a 3-part neurological pattern known as the habit loop. Think of this loop as the programming language of your brain's autopilot. If you want a new script to run, you have to write it in a way the basal ganglia can read. The first part of the script is the cue. This is the trigger. It is a specific signal that tells your brain, "Okay, director, go take a coffee break. I've got this." The problem for most people is that their cues are too vague. Being tidy isn't a cue, it's a wish. A real cue is something like walking through your front door or closing your laptop at the end of the day. For the multitasker, a powerful cue is a physical transition. Let's say you have a habit of throwing your bag and keys on the sofa the moment you walk in. To the basal ganglia, the front door is the cue for the routine, throw stuff on the sofa. To change the behavior, you don't need more willpower. You need to hijack that specific cue. You tell yourself, when my hand touches the doorknob, I am going to place my keys in the designated wooden bowl. It has to be that specific. The second part is the routine. This is the behavior itself. And here is where most scanners fail. They make the routine too big. You try to organize the whole office in one go. That requires the prefrontal cortex to engage in complex planning, which drains your battery and breaks the loop. To program the basal ganglia, the routine must be brain-dead simple. We're talking about a 2-minute rule. Putting the keys in the bowl, hanging the coat on the hook, closing the 3 tabs you aren't using. By keeping the routine tiny, you bypass the willpower tax. You are essentially sneakily uploading small files into the autopilot without the conscious director even noticing. The third and most ignored part of the loop is the reward. This is the dopamine hit. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about reinforcement. It's a chemical sticky note that says to the brain, "This felt good, remember this script for next time." For the specialist, the reward might be the sheer joy of a clean desk, but for us, the multitaskers and the deep thinkers, we need a more immediate win. The reward could be the visual satisfaction of seeing a clear surface, or even a small internal fist bump. If you do the routine but then immediately start stressing about your next project, you've robbed the basal ganglia of its reward. You've told the brain that being tidy is just another stressor. You must allow yourself a second to feel the relief of knowing exactly where your things are. That relief is the fuel that keeps the loop spinning. Now, you might be wondering, does this actually last, or am I just going to be neat for a week and then crash? This is where the magic of neuroplasticity comes in. Every time you complete this loop, you are engaging in a process called long-term potentiation, or LTP. In simple terms, neurons that fire together wire together. Each time you place the keys in the bowl instead of on the sofa, the neural pathway in your basal ganglia becomes a little thicker, a little stronger. Eventually, the friction of being organized disappears. You aren't cleaning anymore. You are simply following a neural script. You start doing it while you are thinking about your next big idea or your third hobby of the week. Being organized moves from a chore to a default setting. It becomes part of your biological identity. So, how do we start? We start with environmental design. If your basal ganglia is the autopilot, your environment is the cockpit. If the cockpit is a mess, the autopilot gets confused. If you want to be organized, you have to make it easier for your brain to be tidy than to be messy. Have a home for everything. If your keys don't have a specific home, your brain has to decide where to put them every day, which triggers the prefrontal cortex and drains your battery. Reduce the number of decisions you have to make. Stop fighting your brain and start programming it. Organization isn't a personality trait you were either born with or not. It's a neurological loop you haven't closed yet. You don't need to become a minimalist or a rigid perfectionist. You just need to be a better programmer of your own mind. Once you master the basal ganglia, a clutter-free life isn't a feat of strength. It's just how you live. It clears the mental RAM so you can get back to the things that actually matter. Your curiosity, your wicked career, and those dozen paths you're meant to explore. To help you with this reprogramming, I've put together a habit loop template specifically for the scanner brain. It will help you identify your cues and design rewards that actually work for your neurobiology. You can download it at the link below. I'm the mind decoder. Stop trying, start loop building, and I'll see you in the next one.